the Nigerian middle class is shrinking, So if you look at the things that you're considering luxury in Nigeria, being in a good estate, having good roads, having stable electricity, those things are things that everyone here has access to.
Canada, if you are stable back home, it's not worth it. It's just a fleece. It's a mirage. And that's the truth. Some of us are here because we've decided to come. For example, coming to Canada as a consultant psychiatrist, I had my hospital, I had the money, I had my driver, I had everything working. I had 3 vehicles. I had built a house and I was living in a duplex. But why did I come? Some of us, we looked at it and we said, you know what? For the sake of my children. Canada doesn't program you to work and enjoy your work. The master that is paying you is saying, I'm paying you to get this job done. Salaries in Nigeria is better, you understand? Because I can be making an equivalent of $1,000 in Nigerian naira. The amount that I'm going to spend out of that $1,000 to get my house, rent, everything may just be about 300 or 400. I have opportunity to save like 500 from my salary. But you can't try that here in Canada. You have to cut your coat according to your clothes in Canada because your rent, many things are competing. So it's like they give and they take. The system will take it away from you, from parking lots, from the toll gate. There are a lot of systemic discrimination that you won't see it as a form of discrimination because it's already systematized. It's already part of the system. They won't put it in your face. We call it systemic discrimination. It's quite huge, but it's hidden under laws, organizational rules and co. But you will know that it's deeply hidden. But they won't put it and show
Hello
it.
and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Ify and this is Ify's Bits. And if you're joining me for the first time, thank you for being here. I hope this video provides value to you. And if this is your returning viewer, thank you for joining me again. And I also hope this video provides value. Today, as my topic title states, I'm going to be talking about immigrating to Canada. Is it worth it in 2025? And I believe this is a very important and relevant conversation because when you go online, especially as someone who lives in Canada, has both Nigerian and Canadian social media, you tend to see a lot of discourse around this because people are complaining Canada is tough, I wish I stayed back in Nigeria, yada yada yada, and there's different opinions. I thought this is something that's worth talking about, especially as someone who has experienced this. At the end of the day, the summary is really that it depends on a lot of factors. So I'm going to go over these factors so that you who is still in Nigeria or you who might be having a tough time in Canada can decide if this was worth it or this will be worth it for you. So firstly, I'm going to be talking about why people are still coming to Canada. When it comes to immigration pathways, Canada remains one of the most open countries to immigrants. It's not as good as it used to be. Honestly, there's a lot of sentiment against immigration around the world, but Canada still remains one of the most open countries, especially with the express entry system and the provincial nominee program, and then people are still getting study permits. And even though the numbers are coming down and the competition is stiffer, it's still like, in comparison with other countries, it's still like more favorable to immigrants. And quality of life, Canada has a very good quality of life. Obviously, it's not a country to come in and you're going to get like super wealthy, like at least number wise, like more people would be more average earners than like uber wealthy people, but quality of life is still better. You have free health care, you have world standard education, safety. Canada is still reasonably safe. The society is still very structured, and these are still very huge attractions for people all over the world who are looking to immigrate. And then opportunities for your children. Many families are moving here because of their kids. Young adults who haven't started having kids are thinking about the kids they want to have, and those that have already had kids are thinking about the kids that are here, and they're thinking about schools being better, better career options, opportunities for their children is a major thing. And a strong Nigerian community. UK has an even stronger community, but in comparison with certain countries, Canada has a very good Nigerian community. We have a good number of Nigerians here. I feel like we would have more Nigerians here than we probably have in maybe, I don't know, Korea. but like I'm just saying. So stronger Nigerian community. So like a lot of people in Nigeria now know at least one person who is in Canada, and that means when you're coming here, it makes it like easier for you to like figure out where you're going to stay, because you want to stay where you know people. So you're probably, if you know one person in Toronto, you're probably going to move to Toronto, you know. So those are the reasons why people are still immigrating to Canada in 2025. And I think the last reason, honestly, is the passport. We we all want to have like a strong passport, and we know the situation of the Nigerian passport doesn't admit you into as more countries. Traveling is way more difficult. You're scrutinized more at the airport. Whereas even just having the Canadian permanent residency card puts you at an advantage. And then before we even talk about like how many countries the Canadian passport admits you into, the the ease of travel is way better. So those are the reasons why people are still moving to Canada in 2025, and I think they're very good reasons. They were the reasons I moved, and yeah, and they're the reasons I'm still here. I think it's a good country. I've really enjoyed my time being here, and I think long term I'm going to be here. If my plans change, I'll probably will let you guys know. Now, moving from those things, we're then moving to real challenges with living in Canada. Number one thing is cost of living. The cost of living has gone up, and I think it's not just unique to Canada, it's unique to countries all over the world. The cost of living has gone up, transportation has gone up, housing has gone up, in different cities. So with that in mind, that if you're moving here, you need way more money than you needed in the past. I remember in my city, getting a shared apartment was cheaper than it is now. When I came, an apartment, like every year you move into an apartment and every year the price has gone up. But now if I'm going to compare that with Nigeria isn't any better. The cost of living has, gone up. In Nigeria, I can go to Jumia and look up prices of things. Recently, I was talking to a friend and she told me that the price of spaghetti is 1,500 naira in Nigeria. When I was there, spaghetti was maybe 150 naira, I think, which was I don't even know, like a few years ago. And I'm hearing now that spaghetti is 1.5. I know if I go to Jumia, the prices are going to be crazy. And the fact that when you compare the prices that Nigerians are buying things and the prices that we are buying things in Canada with with our higher earnings, it's almost the same thing. And this is no jokes, because how much is spaghetti here? How much is tissue paper here? Cost of living in Nigeria isn't any better. So if a person is telling you that, cost of living in Canada is so high, once you start earning in Canadian dollars, it's going to be more manageable. Obviously, it will take you some time to adjust before you start earning comfortably enough to, buy those things. But in comparison with living costs in Nigeria, it is still way easier. The next point is job markets. When it comes to, in the last couple of years, migration has risen the lots of people here in the country. So jobs are even more difficult to get. It's not as it used to be. It's way harder to get jobs. But once again, still in comparison with Nigeria, because it depends on which country you're comparing it with, I think jobs are easier to get, and jobs that pay better are easier to get still in comparison than in Nigeria. As I said, I have people there. It takes a while to survive, to understand what's going on, and to start living comfortably. It takes you a while. But I don't expect that you would move to a country and figure it out in 2 years. I feel like that's magic. Even in Nigeria, you've not figured out Nigeria in all your years there. So what's the guarantee you're going to figure out this country in 2 years? So I think it's a rite of passage that you might have struggles. It's not everyone that has struggles, so to be honest. Some people come here and they're very lucky and things are set for them. But I feel like it's a reasonable thing to plan for, that you would have struggles in the first couple of years of you being in this country. So the next reason is weather shock. Canada, number one thing people know about Canada is how cold it is, the great Canadian cold. So Canadian winters are brutal. They are like, if you've never experienced -30 before, like, I don't know if it's something you want to experience. The weather can literally give you depression. But I will say, and I live in one of the cold provinces, Alberta, and I will tell you that it's tolerable, it's doable. It's not nice, it's not ideal, but it's doable. Like, it's something you would get used to and you would survive. So I would say it's bad, but it's not that bad. So I would say for me, that's not enough reason for you not to move. You can always pick like warmer provinces like BC or Ontario. They have higher cost of living though, but they are warmer. So even Canadians complain about the weather, honestly. And another thing to note is that we have really warm summers. They're short, but they're actually really warm. Like, I think a lot of people, when they think about Canadian cold, they think it's cold all year round. The summers are very warm. Like, it gets so hot, you start to think you're in Abuja, Nigeria. So I would say it's not perfect, but it's it's a real reason not to come here, to be honest, but it's a tolerable situation. You get used to it, and I feel like it's harder when you're new and you're struggling, you don't have a car, so you're outside a lot, especially, I don't even want to go into that story, but once you have settled, you've gotten a car, it's easier because you're going from your home to your heated car to your office. Still not ideal, but like, it's more tolerable. So I would say it's not enough reason not to come, but it's a pretty darn good reason. Is family and cultural gaps. Obviously, homesickness hits hard when you're here in Canada. You're away from home, you're away from family. Everything that's familiar has been taken away from you. And it's not easy here. There's a lot of context to understand. Canadians and Nigerians are not the same by any means. So understanding, grasping, it's very difficult. The fact that you're even struggling to find your food is like a big stressor. And I understand why some people are here. Like, when some people are struggling, the homesickness and the cultural gaps really, really adds to it. So when you're talking to them and trying to get advice and they're telling you it's horrible, those are part of the reasons they're complaining. But the thing is, you have to, at the end of the day, decide for yourself, is this worth it? Like, is not being with my family worth it compared to the quality of life I have now, especially once you've settled? Let's not use your struggle face to make that kind of decision. And a lot of times you find that it is. What people try to do is they try to help their family members to come. So they have those, familiar people that they can talk to, and they're not just doing everything through video call. So for me, it's worth it. It's not worth it for everyone, because that's why some people still try to move back. But yeah, this point is the difficulty of immigrating in 2025. The processing times are longer, the point requirements, they are higher in 2025. So it's like there's some people that got it so easily. Some people are still getting it easily, but the numbers of those people have dropped. Now there's some people that got it so easily that there wasn't a lot of thoughts. It was like, you know what, I'm going to move because it's easy for me to move. But now it's like, okay, it's not that easy. So because it's not that easy, it's like way more to consider. It's like the stress I will have to go through to finally get into Canada. Is it worth it? In comparison with just staying back, I still think it's worth it, but I understand why some people would give up, because it's very stressful now. People are having to learn French from the scratch, taking 2 years to learn a new language, and you can imagine how difficult IELTS can be for people, not to mention learning French and getting enough to be able to, up your CRS score. So I understand why some people are complaining in 2025. So what's different in Canada now versus maybe 5 years ago or a few years ago? It's number one, higher CRS scores. The entry now is tough. If you're not in specific categories, which is why they have the category-based draws like healthcare, tech, or skilled trades, or like if you're not in specific categories, you are going to find it difficult to get in. The economic pressures is also real. Inflation has gone up. It's happening everywhere around the world. It's not unique to Canada, but it still means that it takes you a longer time to adjust here as a newcomer. So if you have a remote job in Nigeria and you're working for a foreign company and you're earning in dollars, it would make sense for you to want to just stay back in Nigeria, because inflation is not necessarily affecting you because of your dollars. So the $1 million question now is it worth it? And I would say the answer honestly still depends on why you are moving. Number one, if you're moving here for education, for healthcare, for opportunity for your kids, for a better passport, Canada is still one of the best choices out there. It might not be as good as it used to be because of how difficult it is now, but it's still one of the best options in comparison with other options you might have. But if you're moving here, if you want to move because of instant wealth, success, luxury living, you might honestly be disappointed. We have a society that is structured to help the poor, so that everyone can have access to good healthcare, good roads, good amenities. Everyone is heavily taxed, so it's not easy to be uber wealthy here. So if you're someone who that's your dream, you can do it here, but the chances are lesser. You're most likely going to fall in the average earner bracket. So if that's your reason, you might have to look for other countries. That's one of the reasons people like the US, because the US dollar is stronger and like people tend to earn more, I guess. Like for the same jobs, I think the US tends to pay better than Canada. So some people prefer that. But my point is, if that's your goal, Canada might not be the best choice for you. So for me, I would say for tips, do your research, target high demand skills if it's possible, budget realistically. Canada is expensive, jobs are hard to get. You might stay here for months and not have a job. Start networking early, go to LinkedIn, have a backup plan. Those are tips I would give you. But in general, I'd like to say that why this discourse comes up a lot is because a lot of people do not know the exact situation of the people they are asking questions. If you're very young, you have certain qualifications, it's easier for you to come in and easier for you to settle in and adjust. So when you're asking someone who is married with kids, their struggles, they're not going to have the same answers for you because their struggles are different from yours. That's number one. Number two, the age they are at, the professions they are at, all these factors are different. So when you're asking questions, you have to have that in mind. Some people are here on work visas. Some people are here on student visas, like different types of visas. So their experiences are going to be different. Their struggles are going to be different. So when they're telling you and complaining, don't just take it hook, line, and sinker. Consider their unique situation and understand why they have the struggles that they do. But overall, do I think it's worth it? I think it's worth it because if you look at the numbers, the Nigerian middle class is shrinking. So if you look at the things that you're considering luxury in Nigeria, being in a good estate, having good roads, having stable electricity, those things are things that everyone here has access to. You might not be uber wealthy, you might not be able to go on vacation 5 times a year, but you have access to those amenities. So if you're someone in Nigeria who is going on vacation 6 times a year, you're staying in the best estate, you're able to give yourself 24 hours electricity, it might not make sense for you to want to move here when you're making a lot of money there. Realistically, the only thing you might be really considering is the passport. But if you're someone, you're an average Nigerian, then you know what I'm talking about. You know that the fact that you consider cars, having a good car in Nigeria, a luxury, or like there are certain things you consider having a luxury in Nigeria, that these are basic amenities that everyone has here. And that's something you should have in mind when you are telling yourself it's not worth it or it's worth it. Have that in mind. At the end of the day, inflation is real. The naira is constantly falling and it's making it difficult to, make those choices to move. And I know that a lot of people would have moved if they could afford it. But I hope if this is something you want to do, you're able to find a way to do it and you're able to achieve it. Because to me, despite all the struggles that Canada comes with, it's worth it. It's like no matter country you go to, your problems aren't over. You just change problems. And the problems I'm facing in Canada are things that I feel like I can handle in comparison with the problems I was facing as a young adult in Nigeria. Even like simple, I don't want to go into that, but even simple things as being a woman living in Nigeria. I don't know if you know how difficult the kind of comments you hear. You're entering a car and someone is telling you, I get your type for house, or not because you be woman, honey, I can drive. Statements that people make. I don't think I've had to face that amount of misogyny since I've been here. I've not had to worry. I no longer have to think about if I have a girl child, the kind of things that she would face. Like, she would still face stress and certain amounts of misogyny and all that. And yeah, but I'm not worried about it to a certain extent. Anyways, I think that those are my tips. As much as possible, you want to come here as a permanent resident, because it's the easiest visa to have. It's the easiest visa to live on, not to have. Still, it's very difficult to get. But yeah. So anyways, thank you very much for watching my video. If you watched it up to this point, I hope you found value in it. I hope it has been able to help you think clearly about the decision you want to make. And yeah, please like, subscribe, share, comment. If you have any questions, please ask me in the comment section below. I'll try my best to respond. And see you in my next video. Bye.